Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it will be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! Backstory. There was a local cross-country race coming up and my sister was entering along with an embarrassed kid and many other children ranging from 12 to 16, different age, different race group. My sister was getting prepared at school for the race that was starting in a few hours, and the entitled mother walked up to my sister and this totally crazy conversation goes like this.
You're entering the race today, right?
Yeah, why?
Well, my child is gonna enter and she's going to win.
Okay, good luck to her then.
Are you laughing at my daughter? What, is she not eligible to race in your eyes?
Whoa, calm down, I've never even seen your daughter.
Oh, Miss Popular doesn't know my daughter, so she's not popular, huh?
I never even said that. Please, keep your voice down.
Don't tell me what to do.
Listen, I'm gonna leave. My ears are sensitive to loud noises.
If you don't let my daughter win, I will break your leg.
What? Okay, whatever. The race is about to begin and my sister starts warming up. And the entitled mother is dead staring at my sister. My sister comes up to the entitled mother and asks what is wrong.
You better let that kid win.
Points to her daughter.
Or I will seriously break your leg. I'm not kidding.
Okay, I believe you. Don't worry.
Don't you dare have that attitude with me.
Okay. Sister is walking back as a race is beginning and the entitled mother gives her the middle finger. The race begins and my sister is at a head start. This is a race cross-country and it's about 2 kilometers. My sister is leading and actually wins the race. I'm at the side cheering for my sister and when my sister finishes, I come up to her and tell her that I am going to buy her some snacks and ask her to sit here for like 5 to 10 minutes. The entitled mother comes up to my sister around 2 minutes later and she starts yelling. And this is how totally normal conversation goes.
How dare you win that race, you little brat? You made my daughter upset. Do you seriously have no feelings?
The entitled kid whispers to her mom that it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. I warned this witch to not go first. She doesn't deserve it. She doesn't even think you're popular.
Whoa, calm down.
Excuse me, don't tell me what to do, witch. I warned you.
The entitled mother grabbed my sister's arms and chucked on the floor. But some big rocks were there and she sadly hit her leg on a rock which made a big snap sound. The entitled mother, looking satisfied,
enjoy the state cross-country.
Sister literally crying in agony. What is your problem? Her kid comes up to my sister and helps her up and puts her on a seat. And she says, I am very sorry for her behavior and I hope you can forgive me if not her. I am very sorry.
Don't be apologetic to that witch. She didn't let you win.
At this point, I've come back and see my sister crying in pain and legs bleeding. I asked one of the bystanders what happened and they told me everything. I asked if they could call the ambulance as I left my phone in my car, and they obviously did. Then I came up to the entitled mother and gave my hardest punch. She ended up getting knocked out. Ambulance and police arrive and ask everything. I had to pay a fine for knocking her out, but it wasn't anything because of her charges, child abuse, and police found drugs in her car. My sister wasn't able to go to state cross-country, snapped leg. But on the plus side, she got around $1,000 after our mom sued the entitled mother. I worked at a pet insurance company a couple of years ago. Anyone who has worked in customer services or in insurance will know it's a job from hell. People yell at you for things the accounting team has messed up, for things the policy writers have done, for literally anything that you cannot control. One day I was connected to telephone Karen who immediately replied to my cheery greeting with a pissed off attitude. I knew immediately that call was going to be a rough one. She told me she took her large older dog into the vet for a problem the day before, and it turned out her policy didn't cover what she needed for her large dog anymore, as he was getting older, so she wanted to switch policies. I told her I could do that for her, no problem. However, whatever the condition was that she got checked out the day before won't be covered, as it will be listed as a pre-existing condition, which means anything that was diagnosed or found to be relating to a condition noted down within the past 2 years. That simply would not do for Telephone Karen. She started negotiating what she wanted me to do, which was essentially to move her over to another policy, one that would cover the condition her old dog was going to have for the rest of his life, it seems. All the previous conditions too, and if I could take the price down a bit, that would be great. I told her there are really only 2 options: to keep the policy she had, as it did cover a bunch of other things for her dog that I could see in his file, or cancel and have no conditions a dog has been diagnosed with in the last 2 years covered at all with any other policy she would take out, with our company or otherwise. I explained there was literally nothing else I could do. Those were the policies as they were written, and I did not make these rules. My telephone manner was calm and polite. I didn't go out of my way to make her mad, just gave her the facts. Telephone Karen started yelling, demands and all sorts of curses down the phone, at which point I turned the call's volume down a bit and checked my phone for messages and stuff. This is common. We customer service reps do not have to be at full attention if you're going to come at us with total nonsense. When Telephone Karen had finished, I reiterated the policies and my lack of control to do anything other than the options I gave. She screamed, literally screaming in my ears, "Just go ahead and cancel the policy then, you witch!" And she hung up on me. So that's exactly what I did. I had it on record that she asked, well, screamed at me to do it, and we had to cancel a policy if a customer asked us to. I knew the cancellation email had reached her as soon as one of my desk mates flinched after they greeted a new caller. I had a sense that Telephone Karen was about to claim another victim with her screeches, so I motioned for them to transfer her to me. I greeted her cheerily again, and she seemed to get even more angry than before, hearing that she'd been transferred to the person who has followed her idiotic order. She asked me who I think I am canceling her policy without her permission. I reminded her that that was the last thing she asked of me before she hung up on our previous call. That made her all the irater. She demanded I reinstate the policy, but I couldn't. It was cancelled. The deed was done. I told her I could set up a new policy and she begrudgingly said fine. And while I ran her through the policy she wanted, I went through the script we have when setting up a policy, and at the part where I said that no conditions that have been diagnosed or been linked to a condition in the last 2 years will be covered, Telephone Karen interrupted me and asked, the conditions her dog had previously been covered for would still be covered, right? Right? Wrong, witch. They are all now pre-existing conditions. Telephone Karen lost her mind. She wanted to speak to the manager who had messaged with the situation all along, as I knew that Telephone Karen was going to ask for a manager. They always do. The manager told her the same thing I did. I'd cancel the policy as she'd asked me to, as we legally had to. I was listening to the conversation and the Karen said, "But I said that when I was angry at that other woman. I didn't mean her to actually cancel my policy." To which my manager replied, "Well, I'm sorry about that, but keep this as a lesson for next time, so you'll have the mind to stop and calm yourself before you say something you'll regret. P.S. I just know some people are going to come at me saying that I put Karen's dog life in jeopardy, but I was just following orders. If I hadn't cancelled her policy and another payment was taken from her, we could have been sued, and I would have lost my job. It was just how we had to do things." Some background. I've been in and out of a lot in my life, both job-wise and school-wise. So I've been an IT, a programmer, been a cook, then a retailer. And I'm barely in my late 30s. I've got my office stories, my retail stories, my college stories, and my friends' stories. This is one of them, a college story. So some years back I went to stay at a buddy's place. Imagine low-key apartment building. Cheap rent, cheap apartments, but useful if you're a college student. The place is near college campus, and due to the number of students, the place might as well be dorms. Cheap apartment, thin walls. Keep in mind, me and my buddy at the time are under 21 and nerds, so the words D&D shouldn't be any surprise. Okay, so we go to bed and a respectful sleep time. Okay, it's past 1 AM after our campaign party left for the night. I stay over cause it's late and the neighborhood is kinda dangerous. Now my buddy has this roommate. This is in a room right over. Let me ask what you are doing at 5 AM, folks, normally. Sleeping like the rest of the world, right? At 5 AM, he blasts metal in his room. Everybody has a way to wake up, right? Now he'd been getting away with it for a while now, says my friend. So we nerds are now wide awake while he's party hardy, getting ready for work or class. I ask my buddy more about this and finds out it's a regular thing. You can set a watch to it. I'm ticked, and that's a hard thing to do to me. My buddies asked him to tone it down somehow, and all we get is get lost. Time for some revenge. Nerd style. So while he's at work, we check out his room. Pigsty, but I can't complain about how someone lives. We checked out his room, a cheap bed but a nice stereo. Now you're thinking we did something to his stereo, right? The answer, yes and no. We head off to an electronics store, a one now bankrupt and defunct brand. We purchase a few things and run out laughing. We get a few mini speakers and using a hecka long cable we run it to his pillow. Then we connect it to one of his stereo's output channels. We make sure to camo the cables and tape things in place. Trap set, but not everything. The piece de resistance is in my hand, but I'll save you that laugh for a moment. So the dude returns home and doesn't notice a thing. He goes to sleep early and he's a heavy sleeper. As he slept, we sneaked in and cranked the stereo to max with the output under his pillow. We connect the piece de resistance, a microphone. Can anyone guess what we're going to do next? We chuck the microphone near his head and hightail it out. The biggest feedback screech in history shook the apartment. Maybe I stretched that one. We nerds may have got no sleep that night, but for a good reason. We couldn't stop laughing. He couldn't hear Jack for a day. So I work for a pretty large security company that also has a cash services side. Armored cars that drive around town delivering money. And that's where I worked. We have a smaller branch with only a handful of routes, and in less than 2 years I was the most senior person. This should have been a red flag, but me and the boss got along super well, and a smaller branch size helped the camaraderie of the place as well. Because of my position, I was getting paid slightly better than any of the other employees, by a whopping 60 cents. One guy who had worked for us a year ago suddenly showed up one day. He wants to work part-time here and full-time at another job. Sounds great, and at first it was. Everything is good for a few weeks and suddenly my schedule changes. And I'm only working 4 days a week and it's all the shorter days. I didn't even hit 40 hours that week or the next. So I started looking for work since my boss thought I couldn't find anything better in the area. Well, this past Monday I signed an offer letter to make over $1 more working from home. So I have nice hours. We'll get over 40 hours a week and 2 days off back to back. Been doing split weekends. Meanwhile, my boss has to scramble to find someone to fill my spot, and at the rate they are paying, no one is interested. So he's going to have to halt his duties to cover down until they can find someone else to fill in. The real cherry on top, they put me on a driver duty to let the newest guy get more experience. So my final 2 weeks here will be spent just driving from one stop to another. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.